go.
What was that?
Oops.
Nice.
And we are live.
Yay.
Little preview there. All right. So did you set your alarm to watch the D&D Direct announcements on streaming yesterday?
My hesitation there should have told you everything you needed. Nope, didn't even know there was a thing.
So they confirmed, they're doing this kind of thing like Nintendo does. You know how Nintendo would do the cute little bits and all the stuff that's coming up. So now D&D is doing it. I think they haven't been doing it that long, but they're trying to build the hype that same way. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Sure.
And so they're doing big announcements. So their big announcements were a lot of detail on Spelljammer.
Okay.
So Spelljammer is going to be a box set with 3 48-page hardback volumes. 48 page. That's like a booklet, but it's going to be hardbound.
Okay.
And it's going to be stuck in a slipcase. And I don't know.
What are the 3 booklets going to be?
One is going to be like kind of for both players and GMs.
Okay.
The other one's going to be kind of the bestiary, I guess,
Okay.
or like a lot of the setting. And the one's going to be an adventure.
Okay.
So I don't know.
48-page hardback does seem a bit.
Yeah, so 100 like around 150 pages to play. Really?
Well,
That's enough
is
for the
that
setting?
surprising anybody? But like my thing is like, why not make it? Okay, I get. I'm spending way too long on for something that's fucking D&D. I get splitting out something the players would primarily use and something the DMs would primarily use. I get that, but 3 books. I mean, at 48 pages each. Just
Yeah, there could easily be one
Yeah.
volume. That's what most of their books are.
or a booklet.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, and I saw, remember we were talking about Onslaught, their skirmish board game that they're doing? They released a retail price, or at least online retailers are listing it for pre-order, $140.
For how many miniatures?
I didn't see, but it's skirmish, so it can't be that many, you know?
Well,
20 at the most, I would guess, you know?
I guess. And as someone who has dumped over the past 5 months, because my first purchase was around January. Over someone who has dumped far too much and paid far too much in international shipping for a bunch of little plastic dudes after swearing they would never get involved. Like, okay, my thought process is always, I'll be the person who kind of gets other people interested, and so I end up kind of buying a lot to build multiple factions or whatever, or at least have some kind of enough models so that people can play against each other. If this Onslaught skirmish game, whatever, provides like enough for like 3 or 4 people to play like a decent sized game, or like 3 or 4 or even 5 factions.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Then the $120 price tag, while still expensive, seems more reasonable. You're like $120.
Right.
Your whole D&D group of 5-6 players can play a reasonably sized game. Cool, right? How much are we getting for this? We, as if I'm going to buy this fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I was a little bit surprised, but yeah, that doesn't, they haven't talked about the contents yet of what that's going to be. And I'm not sure, they didn't say the retail price of the Spelljammer set either.
It's got to be around, I'm guessing like 49, 59, 69.
But it's also got a DM screen and a map, like a giant, like a fold out.
Those add no extra value for me. Anyway, so
yeah, but that means there's extra. They're making it more like a gift set. Yeah.
Then
there's added
maybe
value.
closer to it.
I bet it's going to be about 100.
I was going to say 100 too, and then pause because I think that's too much.
It is too much.
But well, hey, time and again,
and they're thinking this is a big release, and maybe 100 MSRP, and then you'll be able to get it discounted.
But I mean, people are going to buy it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Regardless of what the price is, people are going to buy it. So
yeah. People sound excited. It doesn't look great. And the thing I'm afraid of is that now there is an option for more sci-fi, like kind of goofy sci-fi. Because Starfinder was, if you want to play 3.5 sci-fi, Starfinder was the option.
Okay.
I thought that was great that they did it, and it has a weird connection to their fantasy world and everything, and you can actually port characters over. It's like, there's some great stuff. And now that we've got Spelljammer, so maybe Starfinder is going to start its decline as well.
Well,
I hope
like
not.
we talked about last week, Paizo has already started 5e compatible adventure paths, or at least retooling old adventure paths.
October, I think. Yeah.
I'm not saying they had any insider knowledge, but do you think the release of Spelljammer
They may have.
has kind of spurred that, or at least going to go, okay, we've got to do something else? Because
Right.
I doubt that the hardcore Pathfinder players are going to jump ship or Pathfinder or Starfinder players are going to jump ship to Spelljammer.
Yeah.
But like you said, there is kind of now
there's no reason to leave, 5e.
For the people who weren't going to, there was never a reason to leave. Let's be honest here, right? Because D&D can do
We've got to
anything.
sow discontent among the ranks.
We do. But Spelljammer, I have very positive memories of Spelljammer. Never fucking played it. And all I had was some little, obviously, module that I bought at Toys R Us when I was like 12 or 13. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It's stuff in space. Like with everything else, D&D, they are going to rely on that nostalgia factor, right? And I think that's what is not going to kill Starfinder, but that's something that Spelljammer has over Starfinder, the nostalgia factor. So people are going to buy it and check it out, and we ignore those stupid fucking space hippos and giant hamsters, whatever, right? Kind of ignore the dumb stuff, right?
Yeah, and they announced the 6 races that are being released, and so the Thrycreen were in it. And I don't know if they were in the original Spelljammer, and also the flying monkeys from Star Frontiers.
No idea what that is.
So I was like, I remember those on the front of the Star Frontiers. That that race of alien or whatever they are. But now those are. I'm not sure if that actually happened anyhow. They got folded in, but that might mean no Dark Sun because the Thrycreen were the.
But I mean, like the
only.
If you're going multiverse, I mean. Dragonborn got introduced in, at least a playable race in 4E, right? And then they kind of, not retrofitted, but they kind of went back and kind of updated everything. Yeah, they couldn't always been here,
right. Yeah.
So it's not as if them putting Thrycreen or Thrycreen in Spelljammer. Oh no, Dark Sun. It's just kind of like talk before, like I don't know how you're going to clean that one up. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, and so that and then the big tease at the end was before the end of the year, we're getting Dragonlance, some sort of a book, like some sort of source book, and then also a board game or something. There's going to be some sort of, some 2 things that are going to be released before the end of the year, but they didn't give any dates, and there's just a little animated trailer to kind of tease that. So that was it, and it was a little cringy. The whole thing was a little. I mean, the production values were decent, but they got to get some people with charisma to make some of these announcements. It was
don't make charisma your dump stat.
Yeah, right. That's what everybody at Wizards must be doing. But
sorry, I was going to say something very rude about where they put their high stat then. Anyway.
Oh man.
Main strength either probably.
Yes. Hey Matt, how's it going?
Or wisdom.
Yes. And K5. Good to see you, K5. Miguel. Nice to see you.
Maybe it's dexterity.
Yeah, maybe it's all dexterity.
Unfortunately, jobs are all desk things, so it never comes into play. Away from the office, we are like, not kung fu, but we're just like parkour masters. In the office, no.
Nice. Hey Crispin, how's it going? All right. So let's get after it. Okay, so I think we're all set. Okay, let's do this. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly,
what we got?
Dark Souls RPG reissued.
Oh.
Asmodee Unbox Now, which sounds wonderful. More $1 million crowdfunders.
Okay.
As if we needed more of those. And our new segment with a wonderful animated interstitial that was sent to us by Matt, made by his friend. This is not the best, and we're going to talk a little bit about.
Oh, that's the name of the segment. This is not the best.
It's not the best. It's not the
best.
best.
I thought there was a comment on the incredibly generous interstitial little thing we were sent.
I was critiquing the animation.
Okay.
It's not the name of the file is not the best animation.
Okay.
So I wasn't expecting much. No, it's
and you were absolutely blown away, right?
Right. Yeah, it's beautiful. So you will see that. You'll see that soon, and we'll talk a little bit about the I guess the biggest runner-up in the fantasy role-play, Paizo. So we'll talk about Paizo and their Pathfinder beginner box, because there's actually an event this weekend for it.
Oh, nice.
All right, so let's start with the mistakes. Mistakes have been made. So Dark Souls tabletop RPG rulebook is going to be corrected and reissued.
Wow.
So any money that they made from that collector's edition is gone.
Yeah.
So Steamforged Games gave a sincere apology. So I heard about this, I heard the problem, and I'm glad we waited a week to talk about it, because now we got the apology.
Right, okay.
So they will reissue all the manuals for Dark Souls, the role-playing game. The rule books have been in circulation for a month, and I think that's just the collector's edition. Maybe some review copies as well, and are reportedly full of errors. So their quote is, "The best course of action is to order reprints of the books." They said, issuing replacement copies to those customers who have already bought or pre-ordered the standard or collector's edition.
Wow.
So it's $100 or like a $95 book and a $50 book, I think, that they're going to be replacing. So if you've already gotten yours, you're getting another one that may actually you may be able to actually
use
to
it.
play it. Yeah, right. So a few of the things that came up. So it is based on the 5th edition rules, and maybe that's a little bit of the problem, is when they were kind of trying to port this system into 5e, they just kind of made a few calculation mistakes. So we talked about this. You could pre-order this back in January, and that was when the collector's edition came out. And so the inconsistencies that immediately came up when people started looking at the system was the knight class wouldn't have enough strength to use their own starting armor. The casters wouldn't be able to wield recommended weapons, and then spelling errors or typos and spelling errors. So and some people were considering these game-breaking mistakes that you can't even start playing this, and so. Another quote from Steamforged is, "Although these concerns shouldn't affect the playability of the game, maybe we're always striving to strengthen our process to ensure our loyal fans continue to enjoy the games we release." So you will be getting. So we ask for a little patience, and as we gather detailed information regarding these reprints, the timescales involved, and how best to ensure that we resolve this with each of our affected customers. So right now on the website, both of those are marked as sold out. I think maybe the collector's edition is sold out, but they just are not going to let people order them again until they sort this out. Do you think this was like just a version problem? Like maybe they sent the wrong file to the printer just because they're working remotely or something?
Who knows? I mean, that's entirely possible. Like, I am mildly involved in printing books and textbook, and our proofing window has shrunk to basically fucking nothing. But we still, at least when we use a traditional printer as opposed to print on demand, we still get proofs back. And under ideal, I have no idea how big the Steamforged is, right? Or what kind of departments look like. Under ideal circumstances, it goes through some kind of internal proofing. That's the version that gets sent. The printer gets it. Print proofs come back. That gets checked again, signed off on. Right. Who knows what the process here was? So maybe someone sent the wrong version. Maybe they didn't look at stuff. Or, as we kind of hinted before, maybe this being 5e was kind of a copy, like find and replace, maybe kind of thing, is with chunks of the rules. Who knows?
Right.
Anyway, I wonder if they've had to halt printing, or if I wonder, hopefully not for them, because it would be a lot of money. Like, worst case scenario, they already had these books printed and are in a warehouse, and now those things have to get pulped, and they have to eat the costs of printing out new ones. Like, I guess best case scenario, they'd only printed a small quantity of those collector's editions, and we're getting ready to print larger volumes, and now we'll just put a hold order on that. Say, never mind. Here's the new one, right? Don't know where that is, but either way, they're gonna have to eat stuff, right, about issuing new books. But I don't really think they had any other option.
I think so. I think to kind of protect their reputation, and this is only their second venture into doing RPG based stuff. So if people aren't going to trust their ability to make rule sets and be consistent with how things function,
just like a PDF errata sheet probably would not have done it. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of like fixing the rules, because you could have fixed it, but like I doubt people would have been happy to get like, here's this thing you can print out and slip pages into your book. No. So
that's true. That was, and I hope there's not any of those misprinted books out in the wild, because retailers, especially like Amazon and things, they're really unscrupulous about what they'll sell. So they're still maybe selling those bad copies if they made it out there, and you'll never know. There's like not going to be a distinction.
Well, if Steamforged Games really wanted to, I guess, not capitalize on their goodwill, but if they really wanted to like make sure they had decent customer service and kind of rebuild that trust with the audience, they would put something out saying, if you somehow ended up with one of these books, like, show us your proof that you bought it,
Right.
and we'll
we'll
replace it with one of the corrected ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good luck to them getting that sorted out. So I'm still curious to see what they did with these rules, but I think I'll wait until they're playable.
Or you know what? Just do like the internet is saying, and just like the actual Dark Souls game, these rules, they're not your problem. You just suck at playing, right? Get good, and these rules won't matter.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, none of the rules mistakes will be a problem.
Keep trying, and eventually your starting knight will be strong enough to wield their armor.
Yes. Excellent. Well, I don't have my tentacles, my tentacle animation, but this next segment we are feeling the Embracer. Yes.
I was wondering where that was going.
So the touch of the Embracer group is, I think, being felt. I called it the first oily embrace of the Embracer group on Asmodee. So their purchase of Asmodee, as they announce, they're launching a new label called Unbox Now.
Okay.
And this sounds like a whole bunch of digital synergy, like a corporate buzzword. Yeah. So the collection, a collection of the company's best board games, their best 11 board games, are now going to be labeled as part of this. It can be purchased as an Unbox Now game. So they're going to have like labeling and documentation inside that's going to connect you to this program. It will grant players access to their board game arena, so a digital platform where you can play these games, and also there's going to be inside some sort of points or something that you're getting for purchasing these games that then you can apply to a loyalty program, which will unlock further benefits.
Okay.
This online platform you can access. Buying a game will give you, I think, like 6 months of access to it. Yeah, free 6-month membership will be good for that specific title. And I guess then you can play it online, but can also be taught online how to play it. There's all kinds of like supporting resources and things. So the thing that they're trying to do is onboard as many new players, and they've chosen specifically this set of games, which does include Catan, Rivals of Catan, Pandemic, Ticket to Ride, Seven Wonders, and Splendor. So most people own these games. I mean, these have been around for a while. So I guess they're going for, college freshmen or something. I don't know.
People who don't have these games yet?
Right. And they are specifically chose them, and they want to assure users that the games are easy to play and have rules that are easy to understand. And then they'll have this, digital guides and support from that. So a quote from Andre Curin, the head of Asmodee USA, says, with thousands of products to choose from, it can be overwhelming for consumers who are new to board games to know just what games are right for them. With Unbox Now, that question is easy to answer. You know that when you choose an Unbox Now board game, it will be the best the industry has to offer. Easy.
Can't get through it. Yeah.
Pat myself on the back. We are amazing. You know that when you choose an Unbox Now board game, easy to play and enjoyable for all ages. So they're claiming that more than 214 million players around the world have already enjoyed these games that are part of this collection, which is possible. There's a lot of languages. And and so they're uniting everything in what they're calling a product discovery platform, making it easier for consumers. And I guess, and trying to help the visibility in store and stuff, like they're all part of this thing. So there'll be a nice shiny sticker on it or something.
I guess. Like,
so
yeah. I'm going to be charitable and say I can see what they were trying to do, I guess, right? Because different people learn games different ways. And, saying, hey, like we've talked before about role-playing games and books, and like, wouldn't it be great if publishers gave you a code for some kind of digital version along with the physical one you bought? Okay, you got this for a board game, right? So I understand that buying a board game, since we're still in the middle of a pandemic, you might not be able to get together with your group, assuming that that this Unbox Now arena allows other people to play. You can still say, hey, I've bought this game.
Yes.
Let's all get together online and play it. And you have these online resources and tutorial videos and stuff like that. What I'm kind of wondering about is if the choice of board games can be daunting, right?
Yes.
Ideally, I would want like tutorials and walkthroughs and rule videos and stuff to be accessible to people who have not previously purchased the game yet. So they can do a little bit and then go, oh no, this isn't the game for me, or oh, this one sounds fun, and then go and buy it,
Right.
rather than having to like buy Catan, that everyone fucking has, and it's a horrible fucking game. Going online, learning to play, like okay, that's great, right? Learning to play, but the barrier of buying the game first, and then possibly going, oh, this game sucks. I want to play this, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess what's the upside there? You have it, you got your loyalty points, and you
Yes.
have it online to play with. So
Right.
I'm not like entirely poo-pooing this idea, but I think it's kind of like a lot of stuff. It seems like profit first. Like
Yeah.
I think we talked a little last week, like, okay, what I don't think you would start with games nobody's heard of, right? Just because if no one's heard of them or started buying them, why are they going to buy them now, right? So yeah, it does kind of seem a little bit silly that these games that millions of people have already bought are the ones you're starting with, but they probably sell well regardless, right? So they're going to be like, okay, here. And some people a small percentage of people are going to buy it again just to be able to play it online, right?
Get those points.
Yeah.
To get that pandemic jacket or whatever, the satin baseball jacket with pandemic logo on it. This is odd. This is really odd. And just like when Warhammer's doing their Warhammer Plus thing, and it's like they have all of these free, there's at least half a dozen amazing teach you how to play YouTube channels out there that have every game. You can just search in YouTube every game, and they'll show you how to play it. That's all for free. That's already out there. So that is before you buy the game, you can check that. So why would you then ever need to consult that? If you got into board games, you probably would be listening to podcasts or watching YouTube about board games. And that would just kind of go around everything they're trying to do. So that all the production costs of doing those videos and things is kind of a waste, because I mean, I don't know. It's just like they are talking, if they're trying to get new and younger generations, and that's the most online people, the most digitally based people ever. So I guess
buy this physical thing.
Right here, buy the game, and they take the code out, they throw the physical box away, and they just get it online. Yeah, it's like the logic is a little bit weird, but it's the synergy that we're talking about now.
Yeah, I hate
cardboard and digital.
Killed that word for me. Good point. And I hadn't really thought about Warhammer Plus. But like I think you had said before when we were talking about that Warhammer Plus, you had all these passion projects, these fantastic passion projects. Why not use that? Like, why not
support
have
them,
Asmodee go, okay, like we'll bring you on board into this new unboxed whatever program. Like, your videos are great, right? One downside, not downside, but like having to go through all these games, you'd probably have to go through all these crap videos, right? Not all of these tutorial videos are going to be good that get put out, right? So that would be a way for Asmodee to go, okay, save on production expense because we don't have to make it, right? But hey, these videos are great, and either have people send in auditions or whatever, or have scouts find the video people that are doing pretty good ones. I can't talk today for some reason, right? And then just here's sponsorship, here's a logo, here's something. Well, I guess they would have to pay people. Still, it wouldn't be as much or more than making those videos in-house, right? I don't know. Anyway, I think this seems to be all about like control.
Yeah, I think right. That was Games Workshop's problem as well. Is they just, it's our IP. We don't want to. Yeah, we want to have, and I don't know. I mean, I think that's where companies kind of, sink or swim, is how they embrace the community that's developing content for them, that's, making mods and things that they, aren't going to make a lot of money off, but they can get a piece of, and it keeps a community active, and it keeps, games being supported.
Well, let's see what happens next with the Asmodee unboxing thing. If they start sending cease and desist letters to like people who do like tutorials and walkthroughs, then they'll be making the same mistake GW.
Yeah, that's true. If they're like, we have this now, so you're not allowed to post this anymore. Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. And it depends on, I don't know if this is a pre-existing digital platform or if this is something new that's going to be, because there's already Tabletop Simulator, Tabletopia. There's like a lot of, things that can simulate a board game, and everyone can get on for free. So if you're not going to be as good as that, then why are people going to want to, there's no loyalty point, not enough loyalty points in the world.
I guess my feeling is you kind of got to do it the way Netflix did, at least from a company perspective, or like other places, right? Like, okay, you have the service. we'll feed you the content, we'll make content for you until we're at the point where we can do it ourselves, and then we'll say thanks.
Yeah,
this is ours now. Okay, we're taking it off there, right? And then we'll watch whatever their subscribers plummet. Yeah. Anyway, that's the way to do it. So it kind of seems like Warhammer Plus and possibly Asmodee here is kind of jumping the shark by doing that too soon, by not having the things kind of ready and willing to, or not willing, but like ready to transition over.
Yeah, and already like populated. Yeah, so they're going to have to bring people on. Yeah, I don't know, but they're thinking of it from a they're talking about marketing and shelf visibility and stuff. So this gives them a way to like re-advertise old games and say they're part of this program now. You may already have this, but do you have access
this version?
Access to the digital version?
You have Settlers of Catan. Do you have Starfarers of Catan?
Do you have the Harry Potter edition? I don't know what branding they did with that.
I'm sure there's a version.
But this could become, I mean, from the success of Kickstarters, this could become another segment.
Ooh,
but
nice.
I titled this next part $1 Million Babies.
Ooh, nice.
So there's a couple. This month, there's already 2. And by the end of May, we may have 2 more over $1 million Kickstarters for tabletop. So the first one that I will bring your attention to is the Flea Mortals, the MCDM Monster Book for 5e by Matt Colville.
Okay.
So that is it's just a source book. The thing I noticed about both of these, for a book, these are very expensive. So
you mean what
the pledge is $70 plus shipping. So that's for us, it's $100 book.
Yeah. Yep.
So it has,
for how many pages? I mean, not that page count really does anything, but that's got to be a hardback.
300. Yeah, 300 pages.
I'm guessing kind of the normal D&D.
Yeah, that kind of size. Yeah. So it's a bit pricey.
Mostly because of the shipping. I mean, like, okay, $60, $70, $80 for a book that size. Hardback, yeah, that's just what it is now.
Yeah, you get the PDF and a sticker. So maybe that. So this is 300 pages of 5e content, including 300 monsters. So the book provides named villains, original variations of classic monsters, and rules to make them so much cooler. Already than their stock versions in the monster manual and other places. And so the idea is, I guess, fewer spells and abilities and more options like minions, companions, etc. So just a new way to play monsters, and hopefully to make them a little more interesting for you if you're frustrated with the stat line or stat blocks for what exists in 5e already. Got to keep fixing that sinking. It's not a sinking ship. It's a very strong, dominating ship, but it's
like an ironclad fucking warship to everybody's little fucking rowboat. Anyway, no, I've thought about this before off the cast, like, hey, the base assumption of D&D is you kick in that dungeon door, slaughter whatever's in the room, and take its stuff. And I think that's why monsters or adversaries are the most kind of popular and probably lucrative content, because you're always going to need something new to fight.
Right.
As opposed, I mean, like, okay, new ways to fight, i.e. new classes, are probably like right behind it. But yeah, like fodder, you just constantly need that fodder. So I think that's why monsters are probably like the most popular or most successful third-party content.
Yeah, that's true. And I have fond memories of the monster manual or the deities and demigods, just looking through those, like, because you're not spoiling anything. Like, if you're not memorizing stat lines, you're not spoiling anything by like reading modules, and it gets your imagination going, and you're thinking
it's
about
that lonely fun where like, well, okay, we can't play. I'm just going to read the
right. Read that monster manual. So so that's already at 1.4 million, and I'm sure it's got weeks to go. So it's going to hit maybe 2, maybe more for a book. And I'm not sure what the pledge levels are, how much cooler it gets, but I'm sure there's limited covers and Kickstarter exclusive and add-ons and stuff.
I might get to name a villain. Yep.
Yes, right. So so take a look at that if you're bored with your monsters and you want Colville's
so much cooler
approach. Yes. And the other one, and this actually caught my attention because it's got some pretty groovy art. I liked the graphics for it and the setting. It feels like, though, there's got to be things on itch, or there's got to be indie published stuff that already has this setting. But
is it a glossy hardback book that costs $80?
The winner is write the history, so that this will be the way to play this setting, even if it already exists. So the Old Gods of Appalachia role-playing game from Monte Cook. Yeah. So I really liked how it looked, and some unique things about it. The ununique thing about it is it uses the cipher system, the D20 cipher system. So if you don't like that, then it's gonna be a harder sell.
I was already kind of at a mild pass when I saw Monte Cook. Right. Now I'm just like, all right.
So they're just publishing. This is actually the creator of this game. This game kind of came from a podcast, or the setting from this game. So it's the campaign is an alternate 1920s, 1930s Appalachia, which is adapted from the Old Gods of Appalachia podcast by Steve Scheel and Cam Collins. So the game opens doors to darkness, magic, horror, and horror of the backwoods of the East Coast. So, and they say the decision to combine the character focus cipher system with magical horror of Appalachia is, that's the uniqueness of the setting. And the art that I saw so far was pretty nice. I took a look at, I think it was like the Kickstarter, like some example pages, and the characters and the classes and things were less exciting. It's supposed to be character based, and it was just like, I think there's more compelling, especially in Powered by the Apocalypse powered games. There's much more compelling like questions you're asking about your characters and goals and things. And so I don't know. I mean, this may be a nice sweet spot between like D&D players and this kind of thing.
You said part of the pitch was the character based cipher system, and I immediately went back to that read through years ago we did of Numenera, and how they go, oh, it's character based. You're an adjective, noun, who verbs, and I'm like, that sounds real cool. Then I looked and I'm like, oh, it's just mechanical fucking bits you plug in. I was thinking with those Old Gods of Appalachia, what, you're going to be a drunk hillbilly who commands dark magic or something like that? Like, that was the first thing that popped in my head. Like, this sounded like an awesome setting and game idea until it went, oh, Monte Cook, cipher system, never the fuck mind, right? Well, that's me being very uncharitable. Like, maybe this is amazing, and maybe it's one of those games you would go, setting is amazing, I'm going to port it over to this other thing, right? Or the ideas this spark is amazing, but I would not really describe Cipher System as character-based.
Yeah, so you could just listen to the podcast. And
maybe I'll do that.
Make it part. Yeah, because I think that's a nice idea. Like people that are into like this American cryptid thing and want to do like dark horror with this setting and figure out a balance. And the other thing that they did that was interesting, because I immediately thought, oh, this is going to be, so Appalachia, I'm thinking like, that's very white. That's going to be white something. But what they do is they from the very beginning include freed slaves and everybody that's kind of part of those, border, kind of what's that, fringe kind of communities that were kicked out of. I mean, and actually those two groups, I mean, I would say Appalachia and freed slaves were punished very equally by the shitty laws that were made against people, that weren't literate, that, couldn't own land in certain situations, that were just kind of dominated by a system that was kind of, getting past the kind of the industrialization of the U.S. So I thought that was interesting that they actually could bring people of color into it and make the setting more diverse. Because immediately I thought, "Ooh, wow, that is
that was my thought process too." Choice. And my history is not, my American history is not any history. It's not good enough to know if like 1920s is when people started kind of getting tricked into not aligning along class lines, but along racial lines.
Yeah, no,
because
definitely
that could be, that's obviously something they're going to have to address in the book. No idea how they're going to do that.
Yeah, and
I think, if they're even going to do it.
I think the fact that they emphasize an alternative, it's an alternate 1920s, 1930s, means they can play around with how people are actually being subjugated and
No, I hadn't expected to go there, but that's a good point. 'Cause, I mean, just because you're playing in a historical time period, I mean, like, games are supposed to be, in my opinion, games are supposed to be a kind of relief, or potentially be a relief from real world and all the stuff that goes on. So when like people go, well, you kind of got to bake racism into the, like, why? Why, right? Like, that shit's already happening out the door. Let's not have to deal with that here, right? So, yeah, maybe they just kind of go, I think maybe the best way to do it, or not the best way, the way I would do it is like, race does not matter, right? This is alternate 1920. We're doing backwoods of Appalachia. It's everybody, right? And it's going to be like, you're going to have to find other ways to express that. And because my mind immediately went, oh, that's real white, right? So it's going to be like, okay, we've taken like the tone and like the aesthetic, but it's everybody.
Right. Yeah, and it the thing that could be interesting about it is it's not going to be, traditions and folklore brought from people's countries of origin. It's going to be like this original Americana kind of, cryptid dark forces. So that's very interesting too. And yeah, a lot of the artwork and graphic design and stuff for this were really compelling. I was like, this looks really good.
This is the one that has the cover of like the fucked up deer.
Yes.
And someone had a really good thing about like, anytime you want to show horrible nature, fucked up deer, and you immediately go, oh no, right?
Look out.
Yeah.
But again, we're looking at $70 plus shipping and handling. Yeah. And to get into anything where they're giving you a lot of the play aids and accessories and stuff, it's already like $250, $240, $250. So this game gets real expensive real fast.
Wow. Okay.
So I was looking at it, then I'm like, I'll wait for the PDF someday just to see what it's like. And just the little examples of how the characters work wasn't that exciting. Yeah, but I really like the setting, so I'm definitely checking out the podcast. But I don't know if I want to pledge pledge $250, but they're already at 1.25 million, so they're doing well.
It's Monte Cook.
Yeah, and they instantly reached their goal. Instantly funded both of these.
Funded
which is like,
in negative 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. As fast as the internet can travel. So we'll see, and I'm interested in reviews of this. I would definitely want to see what people, how people are reacting to this once it's out. But a fun kind of compelling setting. But as I got a little further into it, I'm like, I like the setting.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Love the setting. What about the mechanics?
I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, interesting new thing. But doesn't that sound like something that already exists? Like for some reason, I can just see like an IO.
It must.
Yeah, like somebody must have gone for that setting because there's so much there. Obviously, you could already play with because it's not Cthulhu. It's like it can be this like weird ancient, punishing, natural force that doesn't want you to be there. Yeah. And there's some really good stuff
that you
there.
Can't ram a boat into and win.
Right. Yes. All right. And now for our latest segment, and we have a little piece of animation for you to start it.
That was amazing.
Yeah, the animation is excellent, but the title of the segment is not the best. And I thought the inaugural, the first feature that we'll do is we'll talk about Pathfinder. Okay. So I think Pathfinder is the now it's kind of being neglected. It's kind of falling by the wayside because we've already talked about how Paizo has already said we're going to have an adventure path that we're porting to 5e, releasing in October. But to celebrate, if you've never played second edition and you're interested in Pathfinder at all to see kind of what they did to move away from 3.5, this weekend, so the 23rd and 24th is Beginner Box Day, which is a couple of days, sponsored by the subreddit, the Pathfinder 2e subreddit. So what they did, I think everything is closed already because it's happening very soon. Everything's closed already, but you could register as a player or an experienced GM and then run sessions over this weekend. So people can bring their first level characters and try this out and try the adventure out that's in the box to try to get you going. And there's already, and you can even play the pre-made. There's pre-gen characters.
That would be ideal because like if you're really just kind of just getting interested in it, you're not going to be able to make a character.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, here's pre-gens.
Mm-hmm. But they did do a nice job of in the included player book in the beginner box. It's a pretty good step-by-step. That was the thing, both Starfinder and Pathfinder, we made the mistake of wanting to play higher, like I think we rolled like level 5 characters, and that really, really sucks with allotting points to different feats and abilities and skills, and you're just like, you're all over the place. You don't have any idea mechanically how this stuff works, and then you get into the adventure and like, I can do nothing.
That's the worst. Yeah, I've made some horrible mistakes.
Yes, I've made some bad choices in my life, my career path. But so Pathfinder, I don't know. I mean, so for anybody that doesn't know, kind of the origin of Pathfinder 1.0 was the 3.5, 4.0 schism of D&D. So they used the open game license to kind of continue developing 3.5 with an original setting, their original world. Very, very similar, not very, different from Forgotten Realms.
Biggest difference seems to be the goblins.
Yeah, right. The goblins are very wide faces. Yep. But so they did that, and it appears now, though, with the dominance of 5e that, and we don't have great stats on this, but if you go by like active sessions or active campaigns on Roll20, they're already down to about a total of like 4.6% of all the total sessions.
Has that dropped?
Yeah, and that was down because when 5e had just come out, they were in the teens. They released they were double digits for a while, and I think before 5e really started going, I think Pathfinder was much more dominant.
That's the impression I get as well.
Yeah, and they've according to their Pathfinder Society, though, so the split is 3.2% first edition and then 1.4 second edition, which is surprising. So that means they haven't won a lot of people over to second edition, and it also means that but according to Pathfinder Society, though, it's saying the split of, and that's kind of their living campaign kind of a system that they have. Pathfinder Society is saying it's an 80-20 split in favor of second editions. Well, so maybe officially they support it a little heavier with newer.
That's the impression I have to get, because I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that first edition Pathfinder is dead or they're not making stuff for it anymore. I don't honestly know. But if you make a second edition, it seems like any organized play run by the company is going to be using the latest version,
That's
right?
true. Yeah. So. They push it. And that's probably where that split comes from. So, but the irony of their situation now is that Critical Role started off as a one-off private Pathfinder game to celebrate one of the members' birthdays. And just before they moved to web episodes and streaming, they switched over to 5e just for ease. There were some mechanical eases and things that they could do in the background that would, I guess, make easier lifting for the DM or whatever, they thought.
Okay, everyone knows my feeling on Critical Role, where they're not actually really playing the fucking game anyway. It's just Matt Mercer narrating everything except for a few things that the players narrate. So it doesn't really fucking matter what they're playing, in my opinion. But like, I wonder what would have been different if they had kept, or if Critical Role had kept on playing Pathfinder. Right? I don't. I no idea what Critical Role did, but I wonder if they were thinking of sponsorship when they started, because like, okay, home game, no, but as soon as you start streaming something, like, that has to be something you're probably considering, unless you're just going to leave it as a learn to play, right? Even if we were doing something, right? Like, as soon as we go streaming, I would immediately start thinking, could we at least get some kind of sponsorship or something from the company? So, not saying that's what they did. Kind of sucks for Paizo that they swapped over.
Yeah. And that was Geek and Sundry that first noticed them and kind of onboarded that. So I wonder if they were savvy enough to say, why don't you play like the,
possibly.
So, because that could mean something in the future. But a company but Paizo would be a little bit hungrier, you would think, to support things and get.
Well, hungry and able are not the same thing.
That's true. Right. You just look hungry.
Exactly. Sucks to me. I'm so hungry. I want to eat something. Sorry, right? Like, I bet they would have loved to, and kind of similar, like we talked about the Asmodee unboxing. Like, I have to imagine that if they were in a position to do so, Paizo, there's PaizoCon. Anyway, I know nothing about their finances. I have to imagine they would want something along the lines of Critical Role that used Pathfinder. Maybe they're just not in a position to do it. And if, unfortunately, if numbers keep declining, they're not going to be able to. Right?
Well, there are some pretty... they have at least high production as far as like the video and intros and the kind of static frames and stuff for the graphics and things look pretty professional. For I think Glass Cannon is one of the big plays that plays plays Pathfinder. But they don't have the recruitment numbers and the kind of fan base of the characters to bring in. And I guess you would have to, I don't know, I think Critical Role is definitely a lightning in a bottle kind of situation. Because you couldn't make that from scratch, no matter how much money you threw at it. I don't think you could recreate that that kind of response from people, because it would feel like a copy of it, or there would be so many things that you'd be incapable of.
Thanks for reminding me about the Glass Pen. Thank you for reminding me of the Glass Cannon podcast, because I started watching them for their Alien. And it seems like they do a lot more one shots or limited run of stuff, or they have multiple shows compared to Critical Role, where like they're doing Blades in the Dark, they're doing a Dune playthrough.
But they didn't play the Wendy's RPG, did they? Like Critical Role.
No, they didn't. They missed out on that. They missed out on that sponsorship, right? So yeah. Anyway, my sense of I really enjoyed their 3-shot of the Alien RPG. I think the big difference between those two things of Critical Role and Glass Cannon podcast actually seems to play the fucking game. We all know how I feel about right? And maybe that's why it's not Critical Role, right? Like, it's not the big theatrical. It's like 4 or 5, 6 video headshots of people actually playing the game, and not Matt Mercer going, and now, with like the fog machine and like busting out this, kind of amazing miniature that some schmo probably spent like 3 weeks working on for 3 hours of airtime, right? Anyway, ask my feelings on Critical Role, right? But anyway, back to the main topic. That's, even though there are probably big name podcast or whatever streaming things playing Pathfinder, they don't have a Critical Role. And I don't know if they'd be able to pay for one. That's probably something they would need. To start pumping up numbers again, or it might affect that.
Yeah, so we'll see. And if they've already dedicated to doing adventures for both their system and for second edition Pathfinder and 5e, I hope that generates some extra revenue or gives them something. It must. Something that helps them. On
the one hand, it's kind of like admission of whatever, but on the other hand, it's like, we need to still keep making money. Let's do that.
Right. Yeah. And the changes that were made in second edition Pathfinder, I think the frustrating part of it was kind of like New Coke. They kind of did this thing. Well, you like Pepsi, right? Pepsi's getting popular. Well, it's kind of like Pepsi if you want it to be. It's like they made some things like the proficiency system in second edition is flexible enough that you can modify it to make it feel a lot more like 5e. And so why would you want to do that? So it's a little frustrating, the decisions that they made. But I would highly recommend both beginner boxes for second edition and Starfinder. They are, this thing weighs a ton.
I could tell by just what you lifting that up.
And they do, they give you all the pawns. They're little 2D with stands for them and everything. Full sets of dice, full booklets for everything, and erasable, grid maps. They call them flip maps, I think. Flip mats. And so they are a lot more strategy. And I think second edition even did that a little bit more. So a little bit more like fourth, there is some movement is important in combat. So some people that really get bogged down or don't like how D&D handles combat. Pathfinder is even more from that, third edition tradition of combat is a big part of it. And the strategy and kind of cooperative, how a party works together in combat kind of makes or breaks encounters. And so I think that's the taste, and that's the flavor they're going for. The really cool thing about Starfinder too is their alien archives have a huge section of them these are all playable races. They just give you the ability to like stat in any of these bizarre races that they're including in this world, and so you don't have to wait for the releases to come out. It's just like anything that we put like within this category, that's all a playable character race.
Oh, cool.
So fun stuff. So give it a try, or at least like look around for the if people are streaming over this weekend, if people are going to stream the beginner box adventure to see if it's anything to your taste. And we'll hang in there with Pathfinder and hope that they maintain some sort of popularity, because it's a real heartbreaker if they kind of go the Sega, just kind of stopped making hardware. Like after the Dreamcast, after the Dreamcast, they became a software company, and I would hate to see.
We only make 5e adventure modules now.
Paizo just becoming now with Paizo 5e, and that's what we do. But if that's where the money is, they're going to have to be if they want to stay around. And if people find the setting compelling enough that they'd want to play it in 5e, then they'll be around.
I forget what their setting name is. Not Glorantha. That's it's something similar.
Yes,
I always get that mixed up, but it's like Glorantha now 5e version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, I was trying to cheat on the back of the box. Yep. Yeah, but they're but the setting is fun, and I like. I definitely like what they did, stepping into the kind of sci-fi version of it. So, but I think Spelljammer is gonna the new
not to prolong things, but like Spelljammer is space fantasy, not science fiction.
So this is a little bit more. Yeah, this is a little bit more hard sci-fi with a lot of the technologies and stuff. As much as you can get in an RPG. So they do specify certain technologies that exist and don't exist to flavor the setting. Yes, it's not ships with sails that
But, I mean, like, that's cool too, but like it's not like a mage putting on like a helmet and powering the ship with spells Spelljammer. It's right. No, there's an actual engine here, right, in this thing. And don't go outside because it's not a crystal layer of crystal sphere, it's vacuum, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes. So that's so not the best. So the world's greatest role-playing game, nobody can be that because there's only one. But Pathfinder tried their best.
If it can't be the greatest, why not be not the best? I
right, not the best. Yes. So they're not the best, but you got to give them some love. All right. So so check out the subreddit, the Pathfinder 2e subreddit, if you want to see what's going on with this weekend, beginner box weekend. Cool. And but I think they do. And that's another thing that was announced on that Dungeons and Dragons Direct is a new starter set, and even sparser onboarding to their digital platforms starter set than I've ever seen before. And that may be why I didn't even think about that when we talked last week about the acquiring D&D Beyond. Is Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus are launching this year, so that might have been a motivation for them to say, let's get a hold of our digital tools and platform because the Paizo properties
we want that too.
Are going to be doing that, so we want to have it all under our control. So I'm curious to see, and maybe that will be a little bit of a boost as well if they get some really nice digital tools and you can have access to resources to make it easier to play online. And I think it may just be that they're not getting official support, like Pathfinder and Starfinder don't have as big official support for digital platforms because that's maybe why they're being dominated on Roll20 because they're doing better on Foundry or somebody else has developed better tools for another virtual tabletop.
Right. But
yes. So that's it for that was not the best.
Yeah.
We'll continue to bring you not the best game. Anything, so basically not 5e.
Oh, is that what we're I like how anything that's not 5e is not the best, right? Well, I suppose that's fair. They're not. It should be not the greatest.
Yes,
they're not the greatest.
That's right, because they tout themselves. The greatest role-playing game. Yes, but second best ain't that bad.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
But that's it for this week. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always, where I think if you didn't hear that shout that my sludge war game heads finally shipped after 36 days in processing hell. So anyway, that's Twitter. Hivemind, HYVEMYND. And I've also started going back to my little card-based war game thing.
Oh, nice.
Probably because I couldn't do anything with the actual miniatures I had. So let's go back to something I can work on. Yeah.
Excellent.
So how about you?
Nice. I draw a single-panel gag cartoon called Domestic Abuse, and you can find that on both Twitch and YouTube under Abuse Cartoons. And abusecartoons.com is the website. If you want to see the archive of 20 years of this cartoon, visit gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you want to support what we're doing here on the weekly, please visit patreon.com/upturntable. And upturntable.com is where you find everything that we're doing. And and I released the PDFs of our little summary sheet we used for the Chronopia match. So both in A4, letter, legal, all configurations that you could possibly want to print. And I think they even posted on the Kickstarter as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, so take a look at that if you want to try the demo rules, but you don't want to keep flipping through.
You will, though, but the sheet will help.
Yeah. It'll help with kind of the basics. And it's all crammed in there nice and tight. Yep. And so that's all Upturn Table, and Upturn Table on all social media. So check out miniature painting on the Instagram and all that good stuff. And you can become a weekling, of course, on Patreon. So that's our supporters, and that they kind of let us know what to do and support us with wonderful animations and interstitials like the not the best of this week.
Best.
So thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Later. Bye.
Goodbye. All right.
Ooh, sweet.
Nice.
I don't pull out the cables.
All right. I'll be right back. right, back for the chat. So Chris got back to work, so let me take a look at what's going on. Yeah, just that's was perfect timing, Matt. Thank you for sending that animation. And if the creator of the Not the Best animation wants any credit or anything, just let me know, and I'll put that in the description for the video, and you know, definitely put a link to anything that they want. But yeah, that's great, and it was good timing because I wanted to talk about that beginner box weekend. You know, people trying to get people to try some Pathfinder 2E. But yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah, they really they're really eclipsed because there's so many people that are still seeing, you know, and D&D is getting all the press. You know, it's the thing on Stranger Things, and it's got the most visible. It's got an animated series now, you know, on what Amazon based on an actual play campaign. So let me take a look at the chat. Oh yeah, so the retail, yeah, they didn't announce. It may be available somewhere, but on that direct, they did announce the retail on Spelljammer. But I was really surprised, and I think I heard that right. 48-page books, because I listened to that. I rewound that because I was like, 48 pages. That's not a book. That's a booklet. You know, that's a weird thing to make hardcover. So unless they're, you know, so gorgeously produced and illustrated, but I don't understand why you put 3 less than 50-page books in a slipcase. That's a little odd. But yeah, 3 books. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So Matt said, yeah, 69 to 99. Yeah, probably in that range. I was thinking that as well. The quality of the GM screen and the map didn't look amazing. So they were probably, you know, value added afterthoughts. But it's true. Yeah, yeah. So Miguel was saying, yeah, people buy the GW boxes for $200. Yeah, so why not an RPG for $100? And I think, yeah, with Kickstarters, like we were saying, for anybody that's not going to have it domestically shipped, those 2 Kickstarters we talked about, just that single source book is going to be $100. And then, that means you're only buying the book, not the dice and the cards and whatever else they're adding as accessories. So yeah, getting into games can get expensive. And, you always think that, with a Kickstarter, you're getting in early, so you're getting a bit of a discount, but that's not true in a lot of cases. And I think if you're just going to get a standard edition anyhow, if you're waiting for it to go to retail, you're going to get a retail discount and maybe more favorable shipping than a lot of Kickstarter fulfillment can handle. So yeah, I don't know. So Matt was saying, yes, Spelljammer just always made me wish I was playing Star Frontiers. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering if that flying monkey race from Star Frontiers, if that was included, if it was always there, or if they're including it just to kind of satisfy the people that want the Thri-kreen and the want those other races in a setting, but they're unwilling to do the setting. Nice. Our member K5, thank you, K5, for being here as always. So Matt said, yes, the humans, Yuzarians, Vrusk, and Dralicite were the starter PCs in Starbucks Frontiers, the caffeinated version. But I think they changed their names in Spelljammer. I see. Yeah, that may have been a auto-corrected Starbucks. Of course, because why would you be writing anything but Starbucks in the comments? Nice. Yeah, you're very underpaid in Starbucks Frontiers. Nice. oh, Crispin. Oh, sorry, Crispin. I couldn't. Chris already left, so I couldn't get him the compliment. But yeah, Chris has very nicely folded sleeves. Yeah, Chris is always wearing office attire for this stream, and I'm just dressed like a bum that got on the subway. So second edition Spelljammer had Shattered Sphere, a totally grim box set. Oh, with mind flayers, running amok next to xenophobic elves. Wow. And then not an amount of the giant hamsters. Not any amount of giant hamsters could balance that. Nice. So yeah, that we'll get some more support, and hopefully it'll take it different directions. It looked pretty light. Like everything that Wizards has been releasing lately looks so light and fluffy, and all of the character portraits and art, they have just a kind of shit-eating grin on their faces. There's a lot of like weird smiling characters and stuff. I don't know. I don't like the direction of some of the the artwork and things for D&D recently. Yeah, it's pretty rough, but nice. Everyone's commenting. I'll have to let Chris know. Everyone commented his sleeves. So they must have gotten a ton of complaints. Matt was saying there must be a ton of complaints because the initial reaction to the errors was kind of like, deal with. Oh, really? So Steamforged was just like, yeah, at least you got it. Be happy you got it. Interesting. Yeah, and I think that's so funny now how critical that is, and how much money that costs you if your social media response to something doesn't come off well. Like if you kind of blow your reaction online, or if you don't have somebody that's like a dedicated, your kind of social media manager or whatever, you don't have somebody that's kind of anticipating this stuff, and you just have somebody at the studio just get on and say, yeah, screw you guys, we did our work. Somebody that's like, exhausted from what it took to produce that book, and they don't want to hear people bitching about it. And so they just said, deal with it. Nice. So Matt said, yeah, if they sent the wrong file, to the printer, yeah, that's right, yeah. And Chris said that as well, would have gotten proofs. Hey, Happy Wolf, good morning. How is it going? So yeah, Embracer, Asmodee, and Wizards are really pushing the balkanization of online gaming. Yeah, it's gonna be weird how they're pushing everybody towards that. Like I said, the starter set that they announced, it's going to be a different adventure, but when you look at what they're giving you in the box, it's almost nothing, and it's just a bunch of codes and probably URLs to digital tools and stuff. They want you on D&D now. They want you on whatever platforms. Compared to like I was saying, like this starter box, like both the 2E and the Starfinder beginner boxes they're bricks. There's so much stuff in there. There's so much physical material in there, and so much stuff to play with at the table. So it's it's a very you can see a very diverse approach. And the other thing, it doesn't work well for international customers, but the other thing that Paizo does that's pretty cool is if you're really into one of their systems, or really into reading their latest source book or adventure path or whatever, they have a subscription so that they just automatically send you their new releases. And for a while, for their that card game that they did with the packs and things that were being released for the card game, that was a really convenient thing. But then international shipping went crazy, and it just became unaffordable for international. But they do that for all of their products. They have a subscription service that will just send you, when new releases come out, it just automatically ships to you, so you don't have to you don't have to pre-order or anything. So that's an interesting approach, that trying to keep people involved in everything that they're doing. Let's see. Oh, Abyss, how's it going? All right. Getting up early paid off, says Abyss. Got to catch the show live. Nice. Now I'm wondering, due to inflation and shipping costs, more of the books have become more expensive. I think that's true. I think like $50 would be more reasonable for some of these books. But yeah, I think everyone has just admitted, and even people doing plastic miniatures, everybody has just kind of conceded, things are going to have to cost a little bit more, just because supply chain. But yeah, and I think that's an inevitability, if I can say that, because China is not going to stay cheap. Like if everyone is going to use China as the option for the cheapest production costs, I don't think that's the case anymore. And I think like clothing businesses and shoe, sportswear and things have already realized that, and they've moved out of China because the pay rates are going up. The pay for factory and production work in China is going up. So it's not only that it's harder and more expensive to get it, in different places around the world, but the actual cost of production is going up because they can't rely on the completely dirt cheap labor anymore. Everyone's getting too affluent in China. Nice. So this is saying, inflation. And Matt said definitely, if they're printing in China, they're dealing with a constant constant lockdown challenges. Yeah, that's right, because Shanghai was big time lockdown. Yeah, a couple of Kickstarters immediately notified when we heard about a couple weeks ago when they started the Shanghai lockdown. A couple of Kickstarters said, we've just been completely, they've told us just wait. We have no idea when things are going to get started again, so just wait. Sorry. And Abyss said, Frosthaven's price was just up by from $100 to $250 for the game. Wow, people that backed it got one heck of a deal with $100 backing. Wow, yeah, that's really true. Yeah, and those games, like Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, with all of that cardboard, all of the production that goes into that, those big chunks of games, that's got to be crazy. Wow. Yeah, that was that is the good thing about what the Cephalofair, the Cephalofair, I can't remember the company name, but the guys that do Gloomhaven, they do make it. They give you a good price break for supporting them in the crowdfunding, and you get a lot of good options and things. But that's crazy. That's a huge $150 or 150% increase. And Matt said, Cipher system equals yawn. Yeah, that was the one thing. I liked that setting, and I was really digging the art. And then I looked at how characters work and how you are kind of building them and the kind of system for their motivation or goals and things. I'm like, it's missing it. It's really not doing, the system and the setting are not complementing each other very well, I don't think. And I'd really like to read a little bit more of the setting, but I don't think I would play in the D20 Cipher. And so Abyss said, I wonder, due to everything that anything tabletop is going to become unaffordable and forcing people to have to stick with what they have, not branch out into newer things. And that would be, perfect for 5e, like, when they're at their peak, to have things get much more expensive and have people not, trying other things just because even like indie books and things. And a lot of the times, zine RPGs and stuff, they're very expensive to get a copy of unless you're just going to, print it yourself. But if you want a printed copy of a lot of smaller indie RPGs, it's really expensive. And you're only getting like a small booklet or a zine type format. And so as costs of things go up, and if you're not, if you can't produce at volume, it's going to be, brutal. Monte Cook, yes. So hopefully it gets people checking out more indie. I hope so. And stuff that, people just get satisfied with, simple black and white production and can print their own books. That's the thing that I like. I mean, I love how lush they produced the 4th edition Enemy Within books for Warhammer Fantasy, but Fantasy Roleplay. But I really like being able to print those old PDFs of the original versions because they're all just black and white and line art. So it's a very easy thing to just print out sections and things on your own. There was a ton of diversity up and down Appalachia. So African American, Native American, Scottish, German. There were families who claimed to predate the Mayflower. Wow. Nice. Yeah, so they did pick an interesting setting, and I think, because my initial reaction was, oh, okay, that's just going to be Scotch and German, and but there's a nice diversity there, and especially if they're going to do like an alternative history, then they can eliminate a lot of ugliness and tensions that may have been within those communities. So Chronopia and Mierce Miniatures, Darkland 2nd edition. Both barely passed the mark with a week left. Yes, on both last month. And Shield Wolf's reinforcements failed to get funded. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was really surprised. I wanted Chronopia to jump out of the gates a lot stronger, but I'm glad they funded. I'm glad those are good guys that are working on that game, so I'm glad it got produced. And hopefully they'll just be able to keep at it, and because it's the COcast, it's not going to be huge expenses for them to keep supporting, keep doing reinforcements and keep supporting with miniatures the game system. Yeah, I want to see that final rule set. Yeah, very much. There's a strong conspiracy theory that Critical Role sessions are outlined in advance, and the players yes, are expected to keep things on track from the outline. Yeah, I would imagine it could have very easily turned to that. These are voice actors, so they would definitely be able to do that. They could improv a little bit, but still, if you gave them if you gave them a script, basically gave them an outline of what they're supposed to do, they could handle that because of their professionalism. So I wouldn't be surprised, because all reality shows anyhow, there's not people that are they're saying, can you, there's takes, like reality shows definitely have takes, and they're saying, okay, yeah, you got upset really well, but you didn't say this. Can you cry again, but then mention, this guy's name? So I'm sure that it's not all conspiracy. I'm sure they very quickly realized, to make this good, to make not good, but to make it appealing as appealing as possible to an audience that may not care about the game we're playing. Keep the story on track, because it is really just, if you're just thinking about a role play session, a single player can really easily derail or kind of distract what's going on with kind of this main story with something that they notice or something that they get obsessed with, and from the little bit that I've seen of Critical Role, that never happens. So obviously, maybe they have they're hooked to electrodes, and every time someone gets a little off script, they get a little shock or something to keep them focused. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised. Right. Yeah, they are actors, says Abyss. Yeah, not hard for them to do. If most of it is scripted in practice, there is nothing wrong with that. Yeah, they're not playing D&D; they're playing out D&D. Yeah, they're making a fantasy dramatic reading. They're doing a table reading of a dramatic fantasy story. Yeah, and that's why they could make an animated series so easily, because they were already writing scripts, possibly. I understand people being upset by it, says Abyss, but they're not a product that has to maintain its signature. I don't know if that's the case, but it's kind of misrepresenting what they do. Yeah, Matt, it's very true. There's a YouTube channel that I love called Neckbeardia, and they brought up, I think they're Irish, an Irish couple, and they talk about some pretty funny things related to what's on like 4chan or Reddit about tabletop. And one of the things that they came up with just from what they were reading is that Critical Role is kind of the pornography of tabletop role play, because it's not representative of what the real experience is. It's all optimized. Like the DM is so perfect, the players' responses are so perfect, and in your tabletop sessions will always be disappointing because the DM never made you do that perfect pixie voice, and your players never had this perfect response. So it's very funny if you use that metaphor of porn, that Critical Role is the porn of role-playing games, because you're never gonna be able to your dice will roll as big as Critical Role's, but it does give you like a false idea and false expectations. And then when you are actually in the bedroom within your group, you're gonna kind of screw things up, because you're going for this weird idealized version of how you saw it done on Critical Role. So I thought Critical Role as pornography is a pretty funny comparison. All right. Yes. So yeah, that's very true. Oh, Matt got a message. So Glass Cannon, that's not letting me show it. If Glass Cannon would be great if they didn't eat up the first half hour with each show with bullshitting. Hey, that's all this live stream and podcast is. Yeah, sorry, Matt. Yeah, I guess they didn't like you saying bullshitting. That's so funny. Also, Matt says, some of Glass Cannon's GMs definitely make more effort to learn the game, that they're running than others do. Yeah. And Abyss said, can you blame them for that, though? They make a massive amount of money and create even bigger amounts of money. Yeah, and I think there's definitely, for Critical Role, there's definitely connections with Wizards and things, and they get a lot of sponsorships. I'd be really curious about when they do those sponsored one-shots and things, like how big those checks are, because they're a big enough organization that they can command, because they say, we're going to have 10,000 viewers and we're going to have, whatever their numbers are once those things are on demand. That's funny. Yeah. Chris is a fan of Glass Cannon. I think I've come across their stuff, but I haven't listened much to their stuff before. Yeah, Miguel says, it's not a conspiracy. Matt Mercer does railroad them hard. And at the end of the day, critters are there just to watch the actors behind the piece. Yeah, it's just the people getting their little, giggles from the funny voices and the characters. And that was something for me that didn't translate to the animated series. Those characters are not appealing at all. I mean, whatever charisma they have in the actual play sessions as animation, it doesn't work. They needed to have a animation director or something that actually directed them and tweaked them a little bit and just didn't let them do their thing and then animated it, because the animated series was just not great, and not very well scripted either. Yeah, for shows, railroading might be, and hiding the mechanics of the game and railroading maybe. Yeah, because there was that really early example, the Peterson, the guy that did the Playing at the World, also released on his YouTube channel some of those audio cassettes, kind of like the radio plays that TSR tried to do to show people like what's fun about role playing. And they did strip out all of the mechanics, and it was just the characters' actions and dialogue and stuff. They made it more like a radio play. So that may be the direction to go, but if you're into the hobby and you want to know how a game plays, that doesn't help at all. It's like watching the porn version. Oh, man. Get him back on track. Yeah. Oh, nice. All right. Yeah. So Miguel said, I DM'd a lot of 4th edition, and my playstyle would create half-random encounters and let the players loose while I tried to use the appropriate encounter for whatever they were doing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I could see that actually being valid. Good. Miguel said, yeah, Critical Role cannot do that since the moment they went to set encounters where they use the cool figures and decoration. Yeah, that's true. There's so much that's pre-made for that. Yeah, you don't want somebody carrying out some, elaborate, castle or something they built. It's like, oh, we didn't actually go in there. So just, toss that off the table. The characters got distracted by a butterfly outside the gate. Nice. Abyss says, yeah, 4th edition battles are pretty rad. Nice. Yes, and Abyss said, yeah, you can always remind yourself of how much a slog AD&D could be. Yeah, grab a pole and check out and check for traps. Yeah, every nook and cranny in every hallway. It takes 20 minutes just to describe. Hey, that's ageist, right? Oh no, it sounds like I got a disconnect, an internet disconnect. Yeah, this tablet's not doing great. All right. Yeah, shipping is definitely, yeah, Miguel, I agree. Shipping is definitely killing Japanese players. We have trouble getting stuff when it doubles the price of something. There's so often I just, I'm in a cart, looking at shipping to Japan and just, back right out of it because I can't handle that insane, those insane prices. The UK is the only thing that's stayed reasonable, but that's only if they're going with specific types of like Royal Mail, classifications and stuff, like books and stuff are still pretty cheap. Nice. Yeah, sorry, I think the chat got disconnected, so I lost you guys. Ah, damn. So old BattleTech figure on eBay is $10. The shipping is $23. Yeah, Miguel, I feel your pain. Yeah, trying to collect some old wargaming miniatures off of eBay is brutal, especially if they go with that automatic international shipping program that eBay has. It's just it's a really jacked up rate, and they ship it to eBay, and then eBay ships it out internationally. So they ship it domestically to save them the trouble and maybe the customs and everything. Worrying about screwing any of that up. So sorry, it looks like I'm disconnected from chat, so I can't see anything else that's going on. Yeah, this internet. Sorry about that. The internet on the tablet died, so I lost. Let me see if I can see the chat in the other, in any other format. The combined chat might be readable. But the stream is still on, as far as I can see. We're still getting green lights. I think my tablet just died. But yeah, that will do it for this week then. And so everybody take care, and we'll be back to do this next week. Yeah, and thanks again, Matt, for the not the best interstitial. I love the that animation is great, and it works perfectly. Maybe I'll figure out. Maybe I should do a full screen or something. But I'll set up each of those scenes so we can have nice animation in between each of those segments. That's really good. But yeah, excellent. So everybody, yeah, we'll be back again, and yeah, and thanks so much. So this will. Go out on the RSS feed as the audio for the patrons, and then of course this will be archived on both YouTube and Twitch. And I'm sorry, I'm totally disconnected. Sorry guys, if you had any good comments, I'm sorry I completely missed it. But yeah, do this again next week. See you then. Goodbye.